until 30. It's more than 30, but it's 30 of our second phase of this project. Yeah, so we're working through for the last 2 weeks. Let's just talk about our vision, and we talk about this every time. I know everyone is quite familiar with this, but we will. Our vision always, and what we aim to work towards, is that we will give our residents more free time by making everything that they do with the council faster and easier. This also allows us to sort of focus our work and make sure that we concentrate on the right things, and keep us customer focused, and aim to reduce their time as we work through various things. So what have we done? Our sprints are arranged into 3 weeks, 3 week sprints. What have we done in the last 3 weeks? We're currently working on the last few sections of the website to be migrated over. Kira's looking at buses and trains. Louise got going to talk us through the noise and nuisance, and Stuart sort of the migration process as a whole. I am also going to follow up with a little bit around the Operation London Bridge, the death of the Queen work that we've been doing. Which we've had in preparation for quite some time. So that's what we will be covering today. Ongoing, we also have the work on licensing, contaminated land, and then the council elections information architecture, which is our navigation structure. So now I think I will hand over to our first thing, which is Kira.
Hi everyone, so yeah, I'll be giving an update on where I am at with the buses and trains content. So next slide, please, Colin. So looking to publish these pages from the old Bucks CC site soon. So hopefully these will improve the user journey. Next slide, please. So how do we shape the new content? So what we do with services is that we do content audits, we look at user feedback, and with this particular team, I did face-to-face and team discovery meetings, which is really nice because then you could build relationships with individual services. And during that, I found out some of the main sticking points were that users were unable to find bus pass applications. And what they were doing is that they were getting lost when they were navigating to the Park and Roads and Transport landing page. So what that's currently telling me is that the way that the section is named, which is currently buses and trains, users is actually expecting this section to be for bus information only. Also, with multiple tasks hidden in one page, it also makes it harder for the user to search because it's not split up into the task that they want to see. And with some of the information, there was so much of it which made bus information they wanted hard to find. So next slide, please. So how did we resolve these problems? So I renamed the section to bus passes and travel. So hopefully that really kind of spells out to the user that's what this section is for. I split up our individual tasks into separate pages for those who want to search directly for it. I also consolidated the FAQs onto the apply pages, so they're no longer hidden within FAQs, which I found quite hard to find too. And I created clearer titles, letting users know what the page is about. And I agreed with the service that we'll only publish timetables and things that we think are available elsewhere and the user will need. So that is me. I think move on to Louise.
Thank you, Kira. Next slide, please. So I'm Louise, I'm working on the migration project. And so at the moment, we're currently in the process of migrating the noise and nuisance content, which is part of environmental health, over from the district sites to the main Buckinghamshire Council website. Next slide, please. So we initially carried out a content audit of the pages on the district site, so we could just see how much content there was in that noise and nuisance section, how many duplicated pages there were across the district sites, and we identified any pages we know have been dealt with elsewhere on the site already, such as antisocial behaviour, certain things that are under street management, So although noise and nuisance deals with barking and stray dogs, for example, they don't deal with dog fouling. That would be the street management. Okay, next slide, please. So we then met with 2 members of the team, the subject matter experts, Steve and Ben, for a discovery session. So this was to get a good understanding of the use of the pages, what the main tasks are that the user wants to carry out, what they came to the site to do, if there's any missing content, any problem areas, which we can learn from customer or service feedback. And then following the meeting, we came up with a list of user needs, which we've shared with the subject matter experts for feedback. And so yesterday we were invited along to the environmental health team meeting to explain to the wider team what we do, what content design entails, processes we follow to ensure that content's user-centered and that everything we do is essentially to make things easier for the user so they can find things faster and easier, and they can achieve what they came to the website to do. So we shared the user needs and the content audit, explained that we're currently drafting content, and also explain the process that we follow when we're drafting content. So we do it in the Google Docs, for example, and then the whole team can then be involved in providing feedback. They can add comments to the document should they want to all be involved. Next slide, please. So we're going to continue to draft content, and the aim is to finish drafting the initial pages this week. Next week, we're going to send them over to the team so they can start providing feedback, and then we can make the first phase of edits. There might be a few different phases of edits. And then by next sprint, we're hopefully going to be at a stage where we can arrange a publication date for this set of pages. That's all from me. Thank you. Pass over now to Stuart, who's going to talk about the migration process in general.
Thanks, Louise. Next slide, please. So I just want to take a few minutes to reflect on the migration project as a whole. So where over the last few years, we've focused on working with services to move over the web pages that sat on our legacy district and county websites. The migration team are starting now to come to the end of the migration with fewer than 900 pages remaining, and most of these are currently in progress. This includes sections about transport and roads, including highway pages for developers, bus travel, as Kira alluded to, and transport policies, environmental health, including pages around reporting noise and nuisance, contaminated land, drains and sewers, ecology and biodiversity, and a few more business licenses. Next slide, please, Colin. So because our project follows an agile delivery method, it means we can follow certain practices such as working in short periods of work called sprints, usually 3 weeks at a time, creating sprint goals at the beginning of each sprint to give us something to work to, attending daily stand-ups to talk about what we're working on and to understand if there are any blockers to stop us from what we're trying to do, holding a sprint retrospective at the end of each sprint, which helps us to reflect on what went well and quite often what didn't. And of course, holding show and tells at the end of each sprint to be open about what we're working on. Thanks, Colin. Next slide, please. So through the project, we've been using a combination of spreadsheets and digital services to help us follow and track our work. We've got a main audit spreadsheet, which shows all of the pages that we have remaining, who's working on which of the pages, and a summary table of the pages as like a pivot table, just to see a constant reminder of how many is left. And that's something that haunts my dreams. We also have a Trello board to track our sprint work. This helps us to be open as a team about what we're doing and where we are with our work. So everybody knows where we're at. Next slide, please. So what's next for us? Well, between now and December, we're going to continue to meet with the remaining services and push our user-centered design approach. So that'll include discussing the service needs for their web pages, as well as considering how residents view the information and what the words and language that they use. We'll also continue to unpublish pages that we agree are no longer needed, continue to review user feedback and iterate our pages, and learn from feedback from our team about our team, and adapt our way of working. That's me. Thanks, Colin.
Thank you, Stuart. Yeah, no, that's all of those things are really really impressive. It's good to see good to see the user-centered design being sort of so embedded into the system, and good to see it working from Kira and Louise on transport and licenses, because I think you guys have got it down now. Pete has just messaged me to tell me that we only have four sprints left before we're at the end of the migration. So it's all starting to become very real. Although that graph was very reassuring to me anyway, that we're now down to under 1,000 pages, and the bulk of that, all those pages from the legacy sites have all been moved across or removed. So yeah, we're in a much better position now than we were when we started this. So for my part, I'm going to be talking about something a little bit unusual. We've had, and obviously everyone is aware, the Queen's death last week. About this, actually, we have obviously been had preparations for this for quite some time. There's a very large protocol for Operation London Bridge, which had been available for some time. So I'm just going to talk about some of the things that we've done as a web team to prepare for this event. Obviously, there are a lot more things that were happening, but this is what we had prepared for as our part of the, whatever it is, 66-page document that was circulated for everybody and what everybody needs to do. So having lots of advance notice is always good for these things. It is a bit of a somber affair, but obviously has been sort of discussed and planned for some time. So we had clearly established guidelines for London Bridge, which that enabled us to set out templates, build the templates in advance, make sure that we had the correct coloring, correct bordering for all of our messaging, make sure that the images that we were using would work with the rest of our site and all the various different sizes of web pages that we use, so mobile version, iPad version, desktop version. So we were able to prepare for this. Obviously, we were preparing using a prototype, using sample information. We weren't. We were using, here as an example of Henry VIII. So using the same sizing, same terminology, but obviously avoiding talking about the Queen before the time was right. But this allows us to prototype it, have everybody's approval and sign off long before the actual event. However, on the day, that enabled us to deploy the black banner and alerts quickly and easily. We had all of the terminology, the phrasing pre-prepared, so it was quite easy to both fit within our templates and also have agreement from everybody about what was going to be said and how it was going to be said. The images had all been pre-prepared, so we knew exactly how to frame the images in order to make them work, as I say, on mobile and other devices. That enabled us to get the page up relatively quickly on the day, sort of just after 6 o'clock, once the news had become official. So we have what probably everyone has seen now, which is the black banner with the black bordered messaging at the top, and then a black message at the bottom with the image, with the authorized image of the Queen. Obviously, once we'd done that on the day, we are now in a period of 2 weeks of mourning. So things have been occurring on almost daily basis. So we have been supporting our colleagues to publish new information as and when that becomes available and ready, as well as obviously over the weekend. And I'm immensely grateful to Lucy and to Greg for their work over the weekend in order to support our colleagues in comms through that. This was just really very short summary of what we were doing. It's something that, like I said, we had prepared quite some time ago, but this is really the first time that we were able to make use of the templates that we had created and prepared for in advance. So I thought it might be interesting to people to see what preparation had gone into making these work. Okay, that's all we have to talk about today. Do people, we're relatively quick today, relatively short amount. Do we have any questions? Anybody like to ask anything? If there are no questions, thank you very much for attending our 30th show and tell for this migration.